So please welcome to the stage Ari Salafia.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be with you all today. What a great event so far. It's my hope for you today that you're going to hear my story. I'm going to keep it really real with you, and I hope that you find me afterwards. We talk about what's working in your business, what's not maybe, and we all just make some really great connections here going forward. So thanks for your time. We're going to jump right in. I'm going to share with you the story of TaxTaker, how we have been competing with $1 million in funding versus my competitors, $100 million in funding, and how, and I know it's kind of wild, right? And how that hasn't scared us away. And we're still doing tons of business. We're collecting amazing client logos. Our clients love us. We love our clients, and we're excited about the opportunity that's in our market. And I think there's probably a lot of shared overlap with some of the things that you all are working on being at the Founder 500. So with that, let's jump right in. So over the next 20 minutes, I'm going to be talking about our customer machine, how we've identified our customers, how we've acquired customers cheaply, and how we've nurtured our network. Because with $1 million, we don't have that big ad spend, right? Like the other guys. Our product machine, how we've invested in process, how white glove customer service has been key to our success, and really having to be disciplined in kind of doing one thing first. We'll dive into what that means. And then we'll end with our company machine, how we're competing, being extremely intentional, both with our culture, not having any big egos, and how authenticity we think wins. So. TaxTaker revenue growth. This is not going to be a presentation on how I said, oh my gosh, I got like 2 partners and I hockey stick to $1 billion unicorn status. My numbers are probably one of the least impressive numbers you're going to see at the conference. But to us, there's a big story that happens here, and we're super proud of it and super excited about it. And I'm going to share with you how our company kind of changed and iterated, and now has $3 million about in bookings and renewals for this next coming year. So we're really excited. So let's start with just knowing your customer. TaxTaker started as a white label solution for accounting firms. We do government tax credits for growing companies nationwide. We started this company because a few years ago, legislation improved for startup companies and small businesses to better benefit from government tax credits, namely the research and development tax credit. So you might have been getting spammed or maybe have used some of my competitors. If you're on Twitter, you know who I'm talking about. Basically, companies can get a ton of money back for every dollar they spend on development. Accountants found this to be really attractive for their clients, and I was working with accountants across the country, and a bunch of them were coming to me saying, hey, how do we come downstream to help these startup companies that can better qualify from these programs? So we went to market with and piloted out a white label kind of offering, and what we found was it was so painful. So that's like you'll see that first number. It was so painful working with accountants, and now they're some of our best champions. But we had to really drill down into how could we create the most value amount of people, and we realized that we had to go direct to the businesses themselves because they were, at the end of the day, so excited about the money that they could get back. We're going to talk about acquiring customers cheaply when you don't have a ton of ad budget, when you have straight development costs and human capital costs. You've got to be able to be really scrappy and build referral programs and partnership programs to get larger. And then nurturing. Engagement is everything, and I think that's a huge winning differentiator that a lot of companies miss out on, that there are many free ways to engage and nurture your network that will pause extremely or will yield positive returns. So the early days, getting buzz for TaxTaker, I started selling to CPA firms across the country with our product without having a product. They saw some wireframes and they're like, "This is amazing. This technology is so cool." So yeah, this was like a top 50 firm in the country, and I was like, "Hey, we have got this thing. Do you want to be part of it?" And they're like, "Yes." So just kind of building the buzz and knowing that we were going to need others to kind of build the machine from a partner standpoint was really key for us, although we actually ended up having to completely scrap our first go-to-market strategy. Acquiring customer, or I should go back to this though. One of the reasons why we had to shift our go-to-market strategy was basically you think of your accountant, think about all the things that they have to do for you every single year in your tax return. Our government tax credits, while extremely lucrative, that's just one line item. So our business model was pretty challenging at the onset because they were excited about what we had to offer and that they could offer their clients. So it wasn't so much that the technology wasn't working, because we got there pretty quickly with the technology, but it was more so they had so many other priorities that would take precedent or take urgency with their clients. So we couldn't get fast option. And bootstrapping the business originally, I was like, if I'm going to wait around to sell our product for us, we're just not going to make it. So that's why we had to make that shift to just going to the companies directly. So one way to acquire customers on the fly and cheaply is through affiliate agreements and revenue share partnerships. This has been key to TaxTaker's overall growth plan. And by design, we've built out channel distribution programs and actually have not ever really done any paid programming. So we don't do PPC, any paid SEO, SEM. These full agreements have done wonders and have yielded hundreds of thousands and now over $1 million, which we're really excited about. So this is something that will live on, I think, after the presentation, and I can also send to you afterwards. But one thing that we were pretty steadfast on is, if we're going to have folks that help us get to that next customer, we're going to pay them handsomely. We're not going to be cheap. So we might acquire the customer a little bit cheaply, but we're not going to be stingy on what we pay that affiliate. So typical SaaS revenue shares around 5%. We're paying our affiliates 10, 15, even 20% on a first year deal, and sometimes on multi-year. So we want to incentivize them to continue to be thinking about us, to be spreading the word, because if we can influence the influencers, that can have a huge, huge effect. So our competitors, they raised a ton more money than us. They're also compelled to spend a lot more than us, right? So where they might think of they need to get to 1,000 customers or 10,000 customers, like blitz scale, we think about how can we get to 100 to influence 1,000 or 10,000. So just a kind of a little bit of a different approach. So this is an agreement that we send minded kind of practitioners or channels. So I think this one is Forecaster, so financial planning software. And we like to go in and create pretty steady partnerships with folks that are already selling to our ICP. So our ICP is a lot of the folks in this room, pre-seed through kind of Series A, venture-backed or bootstrapped startup technology companies. So why not hang around folks that also sell into those companies? They're looking for value-add services. We're looking for value-add services. We don't always want to just be talking about to our clients. They don't want to just be talking about what they're selling to their clients. Let's team up. We're chasing the same clients and share resources. So this is just one example. Our core channel partners at TaxTaker, being a tax credit space, naturally accountants, fractional CFOs, accelerators and VCs, folks that have a stake and a vested interest, either because they're already working with these companies or they want to see these companies be capital efficient. So I would really encourage you to kind of think about as you're growing out your referral partnership agreements or your partner or just kind of your growth plan from an acquisition standpoint. There's going to be a lot of folks out there that are like, this is the winning recipe through this one marketing lead funnel and this. Like sometimes going just back to basics and just thinking, who else is selling to these folks? Like, who do I need to be talking to? Who can help me build the megaphone? It can do wonders, and it's kind of a have to have when you're being really scrappy. So nurturing your network. This is something that our competitors drop the ball on. And one of the biggest things of feedback that we get from clients that move over to us that have worked with a competitor or have evaluated one of our competitors, they're like, wow, it was so awesome that I talked to someone. Or like, you were a real human. And we're like, what? So when we think about building a referral engine, we like to use this tree analogy. It basically, you want to plant the seeds, right? Like a lot of the things we're going to say here are super obvious, but like we forget that simple things in execution can like phenomenal. So we'll send this out afterwards to anyone that wants to email me, but you want to plant the seeds, right? So you want to identify the buyers, the advisors, the channels that you're going to need. So for us, again, accountant firms, VCs, accelerators. Then you want to build an engaging relationship. And these are things that don't always actually take a lot of time, but it's really important that you're consistent with these activities, right? So just like you would with a sales cycle, like building a cadence with partners and influencers is extremely important. So the elements, so if you want to build an engaging relationship, you're going to have to identify what are the things that I can do on a consistent basis that are going to remind my influencers that we're around, we're here to add value, et cetera. So for us, we authentically engage with their brand. We'll come up with marketing strategies. That could include a shared blog post. That could include a joint hosted webinar. A lot of folks are looking for content. So we try to pinpoint kind of easy ways that we can consistently show up with each one of our partners. And I mean, it's kind of funny. Sometimes even it's like just going on LinkedIn and liking some of the things they're doing or promoting some of the things they're doing. Like those things pay off over time. And that's been a huge thing for us. Shine, educating the referrer. It's a lot easier for someone to talk about what you do if you remind them what you do, right? So consistently providing a blurb, making it stupid simple for them to refer you to their client base is everything. Like you don't want to just have a conversation with someone and be like, I hope they remember that I sell tax credits and they're going to remember that one. They should give that business to me. Like, it can become just a mess. You're talking with so many quality people. Why not have that little extra follow-up or little extra blurb that you send to them so that they can send it to the person that you want to talk to. Also, like creating measurable goals with your partners. Not every partner is the same. We look at partners like a sliding scale. So sometimes a partner might just be kind of a partner perk, right? Listing a quick discount in their perks page. Others are going to be that more robust relationship. Maybe there's going to be kind of a joint venture of campaigns for a series of months. Maybe it's maybe it's just going to be shared blog posts on a quarterly basis. So when you're talking with partners, it can be a really slippery slope to also overcommit. So it's really important that you also want to make sure that, the goals are aligned with yours, and that also you're not doing, just all the work and you never get any referrals back. So, but educating the referrer pays off, and then incentivizing them. So we do rev share agreements at TaxTaker. We pay, a bit more than others might in traditional kind of SaaS businesses. But sometimes our affiliates and partners, they don't want any money back. And so that's also awesome because then we get more margin for that. They just want to see a great provider, give value to their customer. So this is kind of a loop, continuing to say, okay, have I identified the right partners, the right seeds? Am I building an engaging relationship? Am I educating them? Am I giving them the resources that they actually need to help, build my message and what I'm trying to get across? And then rewarding them along the way. It's fun when people get paid. Like our affiliates are stoked when all of a sudden they get $2,000 that just hits their account, or $5,000 depending on the size of the client. It's really awesome. So next, we're going to go into investing in process, overall customer experience, and doing one thing that I think a lot of founders, it's really for us to do, right? We want to say yes to everything. This is our customer journey map. We start with awareness of tax credits. That's been actually the best thing about our competition. When you have $100 million out there in competitor funding. By the way, when I went on my investment tour, everyone said this was not a big enough market, and now we have $100 million in competitor funding. So that's always kind of funny. So this really is kind of the David and Goliath story, but use that as just validation that you're doing something right and there's a market. Like there are many horses that are winning in our space, and your competitors might actually be paying for the education and buyers to come your way. So we look at this as an amazing thing. So building awareness, educating customers is super expensive. Like when people find out what we do, they're like, oh, TaxTaker, you help startups get money. That's a no-brainer, right? Like everyone must sign up. And we're like, you think, but it's not always. It's like people hear the word tax and they're like, not my thing. Like I'm probably not responsible for that. Free money, okay, I have an accountant. They're probably on it, right? There's a lot of things where we can kind of slip to the wayside because of that. Well, now because we have competitors that are super active on Google Ads, they're active on campaigns and LinkedIn and Twitter. Like by the time we show up, they've seen the impressions 5, 10, 15 times, and they're like, cool, yeah, I know I need to do this. And like, how do I get started? So like, that's been awesome. But our customer journey map is really this one loop of, where we make them aware, then we go through a discovery and qualification process. This is one of the biggest differentiators between us and our competitors, and where we win all the time is this discovery and qualification. Our competitors, they go off and say, we're going to qualify you and get your money in 20 minutes. It's not true. And most of them underqualify or overqualify clients. They make big claims and they lack the follow through. We get a lot of leads that come over from our competitors that after speaking with our team for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, they go, wow, I actually know what this is and how it works and what I'm going to get back. Like I was working with them for 6 months and I never really knew. So we invest human capital up front to get better results for the long term. And that's been really key for our business. So where we've pulled back tech has actually made our retention a lot stronger with our clients, and where we've seen a lot less drop off because we're doing a little bit of the heavy lifting up front by just having a phone call with our clients to make sure that they are eligible for the service that we're actually offering, so they don't spend any more amount of time and then not get money at the end of the day. So that's been huge for us. And then just the way our business model runs, we have to collect data, financial data and project data about the team and what the company does annually, and build out calculations and a report for their annual tax filing. Again, I over-engineered the heck out of this at first, especially working with accountants because they're so detail-oriented. And we started talking to our customers and they're like, hey, you actually have a really pretty product for tax. And, but like, we don't care. We just want the money. Just tell me what I have to do to give you the money and like, I'll do it, right? So we pulled back in certain areas with our engineering. So we have integrations that pull into payroll, HR data, ways for clients to quickly upload things, but we scrapped our surveying process completely, and that actually sped up our project turnaround times by weeks, months, because again, they could just talk to a human quickly. That we could get more robust information on a 20 to 40 minute project interview call than we could having them go through surveys inside of the product. So that was a big wake up call for us. And then they go through tax filing and report, and then we ask them if they're happy about the money they got back. And most times everyone is happy about money that comes back to them. And then the customer journey just continues year after year. So again, revenue growth. This is us pilot testing. This is us shifting to very early stage startups. This is us peeling back our product, and then all of a sudden our compound effect with our partnerships, our referrals, our advocates, us actually leaning into humans can be part of a scalable process is allowing us to finally start to get that little hockey stick. So super excited. This is an example of us being just really, really intentional about our product roadmap, what's important from a business case standpoint, and most importantly, what's important to our customers. So we take a really high level approach to start. What are the things we're hearing from our customers? What are the things that our internal team wants to see? What are efficiencies that can be made? In the brain date that we had just before this, I was talking about how we had a 2-month $100,000 integration project, and now I pay $500 a month to get to 80 times the amount of payroll companies. Huge, right? So like, had I known that that was something that would existed, $100,000. Like, you have to go through some pain sometimes, but with everything that we do, we always are bringing it back to, will this get us to, more customers? Will actually make our customers go through the process faster? And, will it create more revenue for the business, and it will make our employees happy? It's really easy to want to over-engineer things all the time, get into kind of feature fatigue. But for us, we've just been really, really disciplined from an engineering standpoint, having to a couple of iterations. So now we just instill a lot more automation through processes rather than like deep tech inside of our product. So these are just kind of some screenshots of kind of our quick sprints. So staying disciplined, yep, easy to slip into next feature. That's been something that I think also, right, more money, more opportunities to spend money. So when you don't have a lot of money to work off of, you're going to be a bit more disciplined on where the next dollar goes. So that's a big one for us. We've also really looked inwardly, like, what can you automate, even by a little bit? It doesn't even have to be 2x, 5x, or 10x, but just by a little bit, that's going to continue to move the needle. And what can you afford to say yes to? I think as founders, and especially folks that kind of have our non-technical founders, it's really easy to get excited about ongoing opportunity and say yes to everything, but not every deal is a good deal. And especially being kind of the David in the David and Goliath story, you always want to look bigger than you are and say yes to so many things because you think you're going to get the next customer. But you really have to just be kind of self-aware of what's actually achievable and attainable. And again, I know I'm saying really obvious things, but sometimes we have to say these things over and over again for them to get through our heads. So we got asked what else all the time in our journey. We were focused on our R&D tax credit. We knew it was a big market. About $18 billion are claimed every year in the US annually. And without fail, like during our fundraise and after, what else? And we knew we wanted to continue to help clients do more, but we knew that we needed to get this right, and we needed to get a really good process around this offering right first before we extended ourselves too much. But as a founder, it's super painful when you have all these people saying, hey, what else do you do? Like, I want to give you more money, and you don't have anything to give to them. So over the last year, we've been building out a couple of different offerings. One has been an additional tax credit that came out of the CARES Act, kind of PPP. So this is my cell. If you have employees and you experienced either a revenue reduction in the last couple of years, or if you're a brand new startup, you started in 2020, you could get up to $7,000 per employee per quarter. It's pretty huge. It's a big refund check from the IRS. So we launched ERC in addition to R&D, and we're really excited. Actually, this week, we just made the announcement that we are offering tax credit financing. So typically, you have to wait for your tax credit until you file your tax every year, and we now can actually front a majority of that so that you can get your sooner and use that to grow your business. But we wanted to do this for the last 2 years, but we just weren't ready. We needed to get the credit process down. We needed to get customers that were wildly happy with what we were providing and being advocates until we were able to open up business lines 2 and 3. So I know it's really exciting when you want to open up a whole lot of service offerings, but again, when you're competing, and you only have so much bandwidth, it's just really important that you do that one thing first. And that's been extremely successful or kind of a successful strategy for us. We had to slow down to now go kind of faster. So last, talking really kind of quickly about building your company machine. This is really about organizational health, culture, and how your internal culture really can really affect you positively with your external customer base. So you really always want to be intentional. For us, remembering the vision and what our why is and where we started, where we are, where we're headed, and getting that continual buy-in from the team. That's really important to us as an organization. Everyone has egos, but we like to say that we have kind of a no asshole policy. We are not, I was in a sorority. I loved frat parties. We are not a frat party. That's just not the way we do business. It's not like just do it at any cost, any ethic, whatever. Our competition is a lot like that. And that's the feedback we get. It's grow at all costs, hustle, just sign anyone up, even if they don't qualify, whatever. We'll get to it later. We are not like that. We know that we have something valuable to offer. We're just helping a customer get what they deserve, and we're going to do right by them. And we are just super authentic, and we know that wins, because ultimately people remember people, not logos, unless you're Nike. So our team today, we're small and scrappy. There's 6 of us, and 7 with an intern. And then we have a small contract network. So we have determined that because of the technology that we've built with our delivery team, we can do 5 times the amount of work than a traditional practitioner can do in this space. So we've leaned into going more top of the funnel heavy on partnerships and sales folks to build the engine to keep kind of top of the funnel going. And then we're able to deliver robust credits year after year with a lean technical team, because our product helps a lot. So 6 ways to compete in any industry. So we talked about being strategically cheap, but sharing in the wealth, right? So be cheap in the way that you identify how to get to that next customer, but reward those that helped you along the way. It pays off so much in the long run. Nurture your network. Don't forget who is helping you. How can you be engaging with them? Even your customers. For us, we know exactly what our customers do. We know who makes up their teams. So we can be thoughtful of, oh, maybe are you raising? Let's go introduce you to this VC that also referred these other portfolio companies to us. Like, just keep it real and it will pay off. Staying laser focused, doing the one thing first. It's so hard because I know a lot of you want to probably do like a billion things and have even more ideas every single day. But, doing just one thing really well and getting that right to propel you onto that 2, 3, 4 thing, it can do wonders. When you can't build, what can you automate or make efficient? We just didn't have that bandwidth or that budget to spend in AI and machine learning and all the crazy things that I wanted to think about in disrupting this whole space. But guess what? My competitors that have raised 25, 50, 100 million that have AI at the end of their names, they're asking us, what are they doing differently? Right? So kind of goes to show you, you can build processes that have technology, people, but might not be the most expensive. Be intentional and be deliberate about the customers you want. We've had to face ourselves many times. We're accountants, the right way to go. We're direct customers, the right way to go. Now we're swinging back over to accountants. We've kind of nailed some of the direct companies, and now accountants are coming back like, oh, okay, I think we might be ready for you. So that's kind of an interesting. And then lastly, be authentic. People remember people, not logos. They're going to remember how they you made them feel. So I hope that after this session, I get to learn about a bunch of your journeys and really, really appreciate the time here today. So thank you.